Everyone, Mike checking in. Hey, good question that came my way today, and I wanted to share this thought. The question came up. I use this word a lot in coaching. Some people have seen my YouTube trainings, at least recently, and the word is modeling. Modeling, the way I define it, is duplication of success. We've heard this quote: "Success leaves clues." So the idea is, if somebody else can do it, you can do it. So you got to define the recipe. What are they doing? What's their behavior? What's their belief? All those things that go into creating a model. So I want to share that today because that's an exercise I love doing at the beginning of the year and ongoing, is to identify people in your network, people that you work with, people that you know in general. It could be in your community, it could be in your family, people that you can look at and say, this person does something really great. Could be they're a great parent, they're a great golfer, they're a great communicator, great public speaker, whatever it is. The idea is to find time to extract, or as I call it, elicit, what is it that they do? So I want to share a couple of things with you as you go out and you model, especially on the professional side. Leadership, definitely. Sales, definitely. Anybody in your team, your peers, in your organization that's doing very well, those are great people to model. I tell people all the time, anytime you're in a company situation and they rank people, whether it's the salespeople, somebody's being rewarded for something, you look at that chart that may come up every year, every quarter at your conference, and you say, you know what, there's a lot of people ahead of me on this chart. Those are probably people I can lower my ego and call and sit down for 15 minutes on a phone call or virtual and ask some very powerful questions to find out the model. What is it that they do day in, day out to be wildly successful? So I'm going to break down a couple things on the dry erase for today. The first thing that we want to talk about is what we call the success equation. The success equation has four basic steps. So I'm going to give you kind of a diagram here on what this looks like. So the first thing we have is what we call the tabletop metaphor. BS is what we call belief system. Yes, belief system. So beliefs are formed by what are called life experiences, or also known as references. You probably seen that being before. Life experiences are things that happen. So the more life experiences you have, the stronger the belief. So if you don't know something very well, it's probably because you don't have a lot of life experience, speaking a foreign language, a script, a product knowledge. You don't have a lot of experience going and selling it, then you probably don't have strong beliefs. So when you create a lot of life experiences, or is it called repetition, the stronger the belief becomes. So when you have a belief system that starts to form, you start to gain what's called a behavior. Behavior is simply how we act, how we show up. Behavior is the noticeable things: body language, tone of voice, language patterns, voice, quality, right? The way you dress, what you exhibit or express. Those are behaviors. That's why I call it how, right? So when you have life experiences enough, create a strong belief system, that you start to create behaviors. When you have behaviors that manifest themselves over and over and over again, you start to create the very end bottom equation we call a result. Result. So I always say the scale doesn't lie. Simply put, if you want to go step on the scale and see how much you weigh, that's going to be the result. Now, you may or may not like the answer that you get. That's called feedback. All feedback is good feedback. And if you don't like the result from the scale, then you go back to the equation, as the word goes, and you say, well, what's my behaviors? Eating, sleeping, working out, not working out, seeing the inside of the gym, not writing your goals down, weighing in, right? All those are behaviors. Well, if behaviors aren't there, that's probably the beliefs aren't there. The beliefs aren't there. It's certainly not going to be right. So the beliefs are, well, I'll do that next year. I saw this in January. Oh my gosh, I'm going to wait till January 1st and start my New Year's resolution. So the belief was, I'll do it later. That's called procrastination. So that's your belief, and that's the behavior that's going to follow, and that's going to get the results that you have. So the idea here is to create an entirely new paradigm by basically the old bad habits or beliefs altogether or behaviors and create a new paradigm. So you say, well, what's the belief I want to have? You create a whole new tabletop, a whole new belief pods in that regard: public speaking, working out, losing weight, whatever it is. Well, I don't have a lot to support that right now. I want to believe I can be wildly successful in sales. I want to be a great closer. I want to be in fighting shape like I did in high school or college or before I had kids. Hear that a lot. So, well, that's the belief that you're striving toward, like a goal. The first thing you have to do is you have to go create life experiences, or as I say, go grow legs. Go do something that week, that month. Go out there, go to the gym 5 days in a row. Grab a life experience that week. You do that over and over and over again. Let's say you do it for 4 straight weeks. That's 28 days. That's 4 weeks. By the way, that's 4 weeks. Each of these is a life experience. That's also 20, what they call habit formation, right? 28 days and beyond, because that's 28 times that you create a life experience. Guess what happens to your belief? It starts to shift. What do you start to think differently? You start to earlier, you're going to bed earlier, you're eating better. No different in sales, no different in leadership. And guess what happens? And here the result starts to change here. Okay. So I want to make sure that this visual, that you bring this home. So this works for just about anything. Now, what I wanted to share with you is this concept of modeling. Modeling implication of success. Modeling is trying to identify, well, what is this equation for people that are wildly successful? Sales, I work with a lot of people in the finance world, in the insurance industry, sales, leadership, startups, real estate, commercial, residential. So I have a lot of people I can draw from. So when I'm interviewing somebody, asking questions, there's really three things I'm looking for. Some people call this the triad. We'll call it the intersection of 3 points. If you think of it, intersection, you can look at it that way. I think of it either way. It doesn't really matter to me. But the first thing is you want to understand their beliefs and you want to understand their focus. This is also beliefs, plural belief system. That could be plural. And on the bottom here is language. Language is also words, spoken or self-talk. So these things intersect at one area, called the model, or you get this whole thing if you want to say, well, all three of these together create the model. So I'm asking questions. What do you believe about people when you sell? What do you believe when you close? What do you believe when you ask questions? Tell me about some of the language patterns you use. What are some of the scripts you use? What are some powerful language you use to get emotion out and from people? Focus. What do you focus on when you're in a meeting in a boardroom? Who do you look at? What do you look at? Right? I'm trying to step into their mind to extract the model. That's what this is, a model. You can find out the recipe, these three, the focus they have, the belief they have, and the language patterns that they say to themselves and what they exhibit. You start to create the model. So my hope is you go out and find a few people that you can model. I know when I was on the come up in the personal development industry back after law school, I was 25 to 28, 3 years worth. I had obviously my mentor, Tony Robbins, and the guys, they made us go out and identify people in the world. Back then we didn't have internet and LinkedIn and Google and Instagram. It was old school phone, and reach out to people, cold call, and get them on the phone for 5, 20, 15, 20 minutes. And we would try to elicit this. We would meet once a week as a team with our coaching team or a speaking team. We would share stories. Hey, who did you model this week? I've got some great stories of people I modeled. Drew Rosenhaus, sports agent, was one of my favorites. Football players from the Chargers back in the day when I lived in San Diego. People that were great at what they did to be able to find out what are the three things that they did to create the model of success. Of course, the last part of this process, you got to write the stuff down. What's written is real. Journal this stuff. So challenge yourself to do it. If you're a leader, have your team do this. Do this for yourself. It makes you more congruent when you say to your team that you've modeled other people in your organization or outside of your organization. When you have other people do it, having your kids do it, whether they're athletes or they're future leaders, great technique. Go out, model someone this week, this month, and have fun with it. God bless.